kids, my name is Mr. D. Maria. You could call me Mr. D. Just the letter, Mr. D. That's what my students call me. And my students and myself, Mr. D, are from Marlboro, New Jersey. Where's Marlboro, New Jersey? Well, it's right here. That's Marlboro. That's where I work. That's where I live near. That's where I do my shopping. That's where I go to the parks over there. And I'm sure you have your place of New Jersey too that you live in. In Marlboro, what I do is I'm an art teacher. I teach art from kindergarten to 5th grade. I like to do painting. I like to do drawing. I like to do printmaking. I just like the act of creating something. And I like exploring things that are new in art too. I like to challenge myself. And because of that, I like to challenge my students too. And I'd like to give you a little bit of a challenge also, just to try out, right? So we're going to be doing 1-point perspective. Right? So come here. Come here. Oh my goodness. You're vicious. You're a vicious animal. You're a terror. That's my cat. That's Bucephalus. I have two, but you'll never see the other one. It doesn't jump very well. Kind of old. Alright, so anyway, this is the Sharpie marker one, and I'm going to be using Sharpie marker because it comes up better on the camera, right? Or on the TV. But you should be able to see this at least a little bit. This is the pencil drawing one right here. Now don't worry about the size of the paper. You can use any size of the paper that you want. We're going to be doing some drawing. We're going to use a straight edge tool like a ruler. We need a pencil. And you're going to be using your fingers a lot too. So I want to show you a couple examples of other types of 1-point perspective drawings and paintings to give you an idea of what we're doing and why we're doing it. This first painting right here is called The Road from Arras. Now, in this painting, it almost feels like you're standing on the road, looking down the road, down the hill and down the road. And the road that's on the bottom where you would be standing looks wider and bigger than the road that's farther away. I mean, look down that road. Look how far it goes. Look how thin that road gets. It goes way off into the distance. And even look at the people. The people that are closest to you, near the bottom of the road, well, you could see their heads and you could see their bodies. But as the road keeps going, those people look smaller and they start to not even look like people anymore. I mean, there's cars on that road too, but at a certain point you can't tell if what you're looking at is a car or a person. That's how small they are. Now these right here are some of my students' artwork. And it's kind of the same thing. Here are these roads that are going off into the distance. And that road goes to a certain point out there. We're going to call that the vanishing point. Paper. Any kind of paper will do. This is very large paper. What's more important is which way you're going to hold the paper. This right here is landscape style and this is portrait. This is also called hot dog and this is called hamburger. You want hamburger, you want landscape style. This is the way you want to hold your paper in front of you, just like this. Okay, so let's get this show on the road. We're going to do some 1-point perspective. So we have to build a horizontal line, some diagonal lines, and a vanishing point. So I have this straight edge right here that I made. My paper that I have here is a little long, so my ruler is too short to go across my paper, so I made one. You're going to make a straight horizontal line going right through the middle of your picture. So I'm going to place that there. It can go from anywhere in the middle to a little above the middle. That'd be fine too. So I'm going to hold this with a helping hand and make my line go straight across. Missed a little bit right here. Okay, so there's my horizontal line going straight across. Now you're going to be using a pencil. I'm using a Sharpie marker for now so that you can really see the lines that I'm making, all right, in this video. If I do any details, I'll zoom in. The next thing you're going to do, very lightly with the pencil, you're going to put a vanishing point right here in the middle. It doesn't have to be very large, just big enough so you can see it. At the end of the drawing, you're going to want to erase it, which is why I'm saying to draw it lightly. When I say lightly, the pressure that you put when you actually write something with a pencil, if you're going to write a note or write something for homework, you want to be a little lighter than how you would actually normally write. Okay, we don't write really hard, right? So a little bit lighter than handwriting, that'd be perfect. The next thing you're going to do is you have to find the center of your paper, which is where the vanishing point is, but down here, okay? So you're going to make a mark between the middle and the corner of the paper, which is right about here. So I'm going to put a little mark right there so I know where that is. I'll make it a little darker so you can see it. Now I'm going to do the same thing for this side, between the middle of the paper and this corner, which would be about right there. It doesn't have to be perfect. So it's like I have a triangle here. I'm going to take my straight edge, and I want to be able to see a little bit of my vanishing point, which I'm going to name Bob for now. It's going to be called Bob. I like to name the vanishing points. It's a thing I do with my students. So this is going to be Bob. You name your vanishing point what you like, but mine's going to be Bob for now. And I'm going to look at a little bit of Bob here, and look at my mark down there, a little bit of my mark, so I could see both at the same time. And that's when I'm going to make my straight line going this way, and another straight line going this way. See a little bit of Bob, see a little bit of my mark on both sides. Now I know I have something straight right there. So it kind of looks like a triangle right there. Horizontal line, two diagonals. I'm going to make a double line on both sides, okay? On this side, I'm going to bring this out just a little bit. It's touching Bob. All these lines are going to intersect at Bob right there. That would be my cat. And so it'll probably show up later. I'm going to kick out a little line, extra line going this way. And you'll notice how it gets thinner as it goes back, once it gets back to Bob right there, my vanishing point. And I'm going to make the same line on this side. And there we go. So right now, this could be anything. This could be a road, it could be a river, it could be a canal, it could be a path. But you could see how this vanishing point is forcing everything to get smaller. That's because anything that's closer to you seems bigger. Anything farther away tends to look smaller. And this forces a person's perspective to think that this is moving away from you, which gives it a sense of space. Space meaning like a large area that you're looking into, okay, not outer space. So this is looking like you can travel down this road. The next thing we want to do is, this is the middle of my paper right here. Straight down. This is a straight vertical line. Almost looks like a plus sign for addition. And we need to know where this middle is, because what I'm going to do, watch carefully, I'm going to take this bottom here, I'm holding this on Bob, and I'm going to move this a little bit to the left, like that. I'm going to do it again. It's not much. I'm just going to move this a little bit to the left. And then I'm going to put dashed road lines in, little dashes. I'm going to start really small and slowly get longer and longer and longer. The last one goes off the paper. I like doing that. Now I'm going to do the same thing for this side. This is my middle, and now I'm going to move this to the right a little bit. Not a lot, just a little bit. And I'm going to do the same thing for this side, and I want each of my lines to be the same length as the ones before. And then the last one. Here's my dashed lines for my road right there. All right, just small and get a little longer as you come down. And now I'm just going to close them off so they're complete. And that is our road. So that last one there, you can barely see anything there. It doesn't even look like a rectangle because it's so far away that we can't really see the detail of it. It's so far away, that sense of space is going all the way to the back. So what I like to do for my first mountain, I like to make a half of mountain. I start at the edge of my paper and just bring it down like this. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Purposely made it a little higher up because I didn't want them to look exactly the same. The next mountain that I'm going to do is going to come out of the middle of this mountain right here. My next mountain on this side is going to come out of the middle here. And the next mountain that I make is going to be a little bit smaller, like this. Nice bumpy line, and come down. Up a little bit, and then come down. Got plenty more space here to work with. I'm going to go to the middle of this mountain now. And I'm going to do the same thing. Smaller, smaller. Just like that. And I'm going to keep repeating that till I get to the middle. Here's the middle of this one. Here's the middle of this one. In the middle, in the middle, in the middle. Now I am using a Sharpie marker, just like I said before, so you can see it. I'm not going to be able to erase this vanishing point right here because it's a Sharpie marker. You're going to be able to, and you're going to be able to get those mountains right up to that middle part right there. So this looks like the mountains are getting smaller and are going farther away. What I also like to do with the mountains, and you can see that nice kind of bumpy feel to it, I like to put smaller mountains in between my larger ones. So I'm going to put a little mountaintop here, and maybe one here, maybe a smaller one right here, just like that. There's a lot of overlapping going on, like there's a lot of mountains in here. There's a whole range of them going on. And we know it because we could see them in between. I might even put a smaller one in between these. Really make it look like it's really going far back. Got a lot of mountains back there. Okay, so here's my first cloud. My first cloud, you're not even going to see the whole thing. It's so big, it's coming off the paper. It's how big it's going to be. So here's my first cloud right here. Really shaky cloud. That's my first cloud. It's the biggest one because it's off the paper. So this cloud keep going up this way. Some crazy big cloud like that. So I'm going to use other people's minds so that, wow, that's a really big cloud. And I look at that because it's like on the edges. That must be a really big cloud. Kind of gives a little story without making the whole thing because I'm making it go right off of my paper. There's one over there. So I got two really big clouds. You can't even see how large that is. It's so big, right? Down here, super small. Super tiny clouds down here. Now, if I gave this cloud a number, let's say I give this cloud a 10 for how big it is. This would be a 1 for how small it is. So what I need to do is find the 1 in the middle. And what's between 1 and 10? 5. I need a cloud that's half the size of this, but twice as big as this one, right in between there. So I'm going to make what I think is a medium-sized cloud. I'm going to flesh it out. When I say flesh it out, what that means is while I'm drawing, I'm watching what I'm doing and trying to figure out the size of the cloud that I'm making while I'm making it. I'm not going to practice somewhere else. I'm going to feel it out on the paper. I'm going to flesh it out. I'm just going to keep going until I like it. And I think I like this one. That's pretty good right there. Look at that crazy little shape on that cloud. And I'm going to put another one over here. The thing about clouds that I want to tell you about is we want to try to stay away from putting them in rows. A lot of people, when they make clouds, they'll make clouds like this. In like a straight line. Clouds really don't work like that. What clouds are supposed to do is be a little more random. One's over here, one's down here, One's over here, one's over here. No rows, right? They're just spread out everywhere. And that's what you want to do with the clouds on this picture, is you want them not in rows. You want them random, all over the place. So as I'm making these clouds, I want them to get smaller as I go down. So I'm going to put another cloud right here, which is smaller than this one. This one would be even smaller than that. This one would be smaller than that one because I'm going down more. Here's a smaller one. Here's a smaller one. See how the sizes are slowly getting bigger, or they're slowly getting smaller. I need to put another one right here. Right? Notice that's bigger than this one. And maybe I can have one popping out there. Another thing I like to do a little overlap with the mountains. Maybe a couple clouds that are there that you really can't see very well because they're behind the mountains. Because that's what happens in real life. You wouldn't see everything. Just like that. So there's your background. You have your road going to the back, going to the vanishing point. You have your mountains getting smaller going to the vanishing point. And you have your clouds getting smaller going to the vanishing point. So Bob's really working out right now. He's being a real friend right here. All right, so that's the background right there.